There's a moment in life that often arrives not with a bang, but with a quiet, persistent whisper. Are you really living your truth? For many of us, that question stays buried beneath deadlines, expectations, and the constant roar of the modern world. But for some, it rises, slowly, steadily, until it's impossible to ignore. At least die feeling that you've done something. That voice came to me recently, not in a time of tragedy, but in a quiet realization. I am getting older, and I thought if I don't speak now, I might never get the chance again. My wife said it best. When I dropped her off at the airport, she looked at me and said, "John, don't be angry." I thought she was talking about our plans, maybe traffic, something small, but she wasn't. She looked at me lovingly and said, "You're angry with the world." And she was right. As Carl Jung once said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. What makes me most angry isn't politics. It's not traffic or noise or taxes. It's what I see happening to the natural world, to the forests, the oceans, the animals, the skies. There is something sacred being lost, and it's happening right before our eyes. And the worst part? We feel helpless. The earth is what we all have in common. Wendell Berry. I wanted to be a voice for good, but I felt stuck, like I was trying to scream through glass. I spent over 20 years as an English teacher, a good job, respectable. But slowly, over time, I started to realize I had been shaped subtly and silently by a system I didn't believe in, a system of status, success, promotion, wealth. And I thought, that's not me. It never was. As Noam Chomsky once put it, the smart way to keep people passive and obedient is to strictly limit the spectrum of acceptable opinion. When I retired, it came to me. Not in thunder, in breath, not a hobby, not a luxury, a lifeline. Writing became not something I did, but something I had to do, like breathing. There's a short piece I wrote. It's not long, but it says everything I believe. Are you doing with your life what you want to do or what you think you ought to do? Seeing the difference is wisdom. Finding they're the same is blessing. So many live not out of purpose but obligation, not from the inside out, but the outside in. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Howard Thurman. And when people don't do that, it shows. In their faces, their posture, their words. It's a silent grief. For me, everything changed when I found Mary Oliver's poem, The Journey. A piece of writing that felt like a key, a door, a light. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. She wrote what I had lived. The voices, the demands, the wind pulling at your soul. And then the silence. And finally, your voice, determined to save the only life you could save. Finding your voice is not an act of rebellion, it's an act of remembering. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. It's not about shouting over others. It's about singing your part in the choir. The birds don't try to outsing one another in the morning. They create a chorus. I used to believe I was dim. Not smart enough, not academic enough. Why? Because of a number on a test. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, Albert Einstein. I know now, I was never dim, never was. I just needed a different path, a different kind of wisdom. And what is wisdom, if not seeing through the noise of the world? I wrote a poem, a declaration. Not me, though, no, I'm not that stupid, not that dim, not now, never was. That was a cleansing moment, a release. I forgave myself, I saw myself. You do not have to be good, Mary Oliver writes. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Speak, even if your voice shakes. Not to argue, not to win, but to live. Say what needs to be said, kindly, firmly, clearly. May you live long, live full, love deep, and may you remember, finding your voice is the beginning of everything. There's a kind of quiet despair that comes when you feel like you don't belong in the world you helped build. We try to keep up. We chase metrics, promotions, screens, and shiny things. But somewhere inside, the soul whispers, "This isn't it." Dr. Gabor Mate, trauma expert, once said, "The attempt to escape from pain is what creates more pain." And many of us are running from ourselves, from our truth, from the grief of what the world has become. The anger I spoke of earlier, the frustration, it doesn't come from hate. It comes from love, from caring too much, from seeing the beauty of this world and watching it get covered by noise, by plastic, by speed. We weren't designed to move this fast, to scroll this much, to compete this hard. We are drowning in excess, not of meaning, but of demands. And so I return, again and again, to nature, to stillness, to silence, to birdsong. When you stop, really stop, you remember. You remember what it's like to be human. As a teacher, I was trained to measure grades, scores, outcomes. But now I see the greatest thing I ever taught was presence. The greatest thing I ever learned was compassion. We do not need to be fixed. We need to be heard. We need to hear ourselves. There's a difference between having a voice and using it. We all have one, but how many of us use it? Too often we confuse humility with hiding. But humility isn't shrinking. It's standing tall without stepping on anyone else. When I share what's inside, not the polished version, but the real stuff, people see me, and they tell me I feel that too. That's when the healing begins. I think often about children, my grandson, his world, and how different it is from mine. We give them devices, but not direction, noise, but not nuance, information, but not wisdom. Maybe that's what we've lost. Connection, not internet speed, not screen time. Real connection, eye contact, silence, nature, soul. This is why voice matters. Not shouting, not arguing. Truth, your story, your convictions, your love, your grief. So if you're feeling angry, frustrated, like the world isn't what it should be, you're not broken, you're awake. And that awareness, that fire inside you, it's not a curse, it's your compass. There's a soft kind of healing that comes when you create. Not to impress, not to publish, but just to breathe. Julia Cameron, author of The Artist's Way, reminds us, creativity is God's gift to us. Using our creativity is our gift back to God. When I write poetry, I'm not trying to be clever. I'm trying to survive, to make sense of the unspeakable, to honor what I feel but can't quite articulate. So many people carry grief they've never named, disappointments never spoken aloud. And when you suppress the truth of your life, something in you begins to curl inward. That's where bitterness begins. That's where disconnection festers. But expression, honest, unguarded expression, is liberation. As Dr. Edith Eger, Holocaust survivor and psychologist, writes, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Say it, paint it, dance it, whisper it, but don't bury it. This isn't a call to quit your job and live in the woods. We all have responsibilities, children, rent, aging parents, real lives. But within your real life, there is room for your real self. Don't ask what the world needs, Howard Thurman said. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. You don't need to abandon your life. You need to wake up inside it. Try this. One morning, before emails, before scrolling, sit still, breathe, and ask yourself gently, without judgment, what do I need to say today? Not what you should say, not what others expect, but what your truth needs to say. Write it, whisper it. You'll be amazed what rises to meet you. The world is loud, so loud, but silence, true, sacred silence. It holds you like a warm coat in the cold. Philosopher Max Picard wrote, "Silence is not a vacuum, it is a presence." In silence, you find what's been waiting, your deeper knowing, your own voice. Don't confuse being nice with being silent. Don't confuse politeness with peace. There is such a thing as sacred anger, righteous frustration, when you see injustice and name it. When you speak truth with love, you are doing holy work. James Baldwin once said, "To be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time." Anger can be fuel. Let it move you, not consume you. So many people go to their graves with songs still inside them, poems unwritten, truths unspoken, tears uncried. But you're here, you have time. And even if you don't know where to begin, begin anyway. Begin where you are, with the ache you've carried, with the questions you've buried, with the stories that never made it to the surface. Let them rise. Mary Oliver asks, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfection. The world needs your voice, and more importantly, you need your voice. In the stillness, listen. There is a whisper beneath the noise, a thread of gold, thin but unbreakable. It is your truth. Speak it, not to win, not to persuade, but to become whole. As bell hooks once said, the moment we choose to love, we begin to move toward freedom. This is where I stand. This is the truth I needed to speak. And now perhaps it's your turn. Speak gently, speak truly, speak now. Your voice matters, and your silence, it has already said too much.